Welcome to The Explainer. I'm so glad you're here. Listen, if you're a busy parent staring down the long Pentecost weekend in Norway, or Pinse as it's known locally, you might be feeling a little bit of logistical panic right now. But don't worry, we've got you covered. Today we're walking through the ultimate, completely stress-free survival guide for navigating Pentecost Eve. Picture this, because it's a nightmare we've all had. It's Saturday afternoon, the sun is shining, the family's all pumped for a barbecue, and then you suddenly realize you forgot the charcoal, or maybe the hot dog buns. You jump in the car, but wait, are the stores closed already? That exact moment of absolute panic is exactly why knowing the rules this weekend is so crucial for your family's peace of mind. So here is our quick weekend survival checklist. First up, the urgent logistics. Opening hours for busy families, alcohol sales and the monopoly, and understanding the half-holiday versus public holiday rules. Then we'll dive into the fun stuff, the Norwegian Eve tradition, and why this weekend is actually a massive birthday party. All right, number 1, opening hours for busy families. Okay, here is the strict legal cutoff you absolutely need to know. By law, shops in Norway must close by 1600. That's 4 p.m. on Pentecost Eve. And honestly, even though Saturday morning feels like a completely normal weekend day, do not let it fool you. The law strictly mandates that regular grocery stores shut their doors at 4 p.m. sharp. If you need supplies, your deadline is set in stone. No exceptions. But hey, take a breath. Not everything shuts down. Restaurants, bars, pubs, cinemas, and theaters are completely open as usual. So while your grocery run has a really strict afternoon deadline, your evening entertainment and dining plans will remain entirely unaffected. You can definitely still take the family out for a great meal without constantly checking your watch. Moving on to Section 2, alcohol sales and the monopoly.
Now, the rules kind of split right here. Supermarket beer sales are permitted on Pentecost Eve, but the closing times actually vary depending on your local municipality. You really have to double-check your local rules for that. However, the Vin monopoly, the state-run wine and liquor monopoly, is officially open.
Now, if you've got older family members insisting the liquor stores are forced to close today, well, here's why. The law has actually changed pretty recently. Back in 2015, the overarching alcohol law was updated. Then, by December 2016, the monopoly was officially allowed to open on special eves. That means 2017 was the very first year the Vin Monopolet opened its doors on Pentecost Eve. So yeah, it's a relatively new convenience. Section 3. Half-holiday versus public holiday. Legally speaking, Pentecost Eve is defined as a halvfridag, or a half-holiday. Basically, this means it's a day with reduced working and opening hours for public offices and shops, but it is not a full red-letter day. And that right there is exactly why things are only partially shut down in the afternoon rather than just being closed all day. To put it simply, here is the crisp contrast for your weekend planning. Pentecost Eve on Saturday is a half-holiday with that early 1600 closure we talked about. But Pentecost Sunday, or First Pinsedag, is a full public holiday. Shops are completely closed, the whole shebang. Grasping this vital difference between Saturday's rushed hours and Sunday's total shutdown is absolutely key to surviving the weekend stress-free. And you know what's kind of wild? Even though Norway officially separated church and state back in 2012, Christian holidays still completely dictate modern working and store opening hours. These ancient religious traditions just remain deeply, deeply embedded in today's civic laws. All right, Section 4, the Norwegian Eve tradition. Think about it. We've got Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, Easter Eve, Midsummer Eve, and of course, Pentecost Eve. Celebrating the Eve isn't just a one-off quirk. It's a deeply ingrained, recurring pattern in Norwegian culture. Norwegians absolutely love the build-up to the big day. So why is this? Well, historically, working people had so few days off, they actually used the holiday itself to recover. Working people celebrated hard the night before when they finally finished their shifts. They did this so they could use the actual legally mandated day off, just to rest and recuperate. Basically, you partied on the eve, so the holiday could be for sleeping in. Pretty brilliant, right? And finally, Section 5, the church's birthday. 50. Why does this number matter? Well, the Norwegian word for Pentecost, Pinse, actually comes from the Greek word Pentekoste, which literally translates to 50. This holiday occurs exactly 50 days, or to be super precise, 49 days after Easter Sunday. It's a very specific mathematical milestone in the religious calendar. Here's exactly how we get to that 50th day. Step 1. We start with Good Friday and the crucifixion. Step 2. Easter Sunday marks the resurrection. Step 3. 6 weeks later is Ascension Day, when Jesus is said to ascend to heaven. Which brings us to Step 4. Pentecost. The 12 disciples are left entirely alone in Jerusalem during a major Jewish festival. And then, according to the biblical story, something completely incredible happens. Out of nowhere, the text describes a powerful gust of wind and flames representing the Holy Spirit appearing. Suddenly, the disciples had the ability to perfectly communicate with all the foreign visitors in town in their own native tongues, literally speaking all the world's languages at once. And the sheer scale of the reaction was massive, 3,000. Because they could suddenly communicate with everyone so clearly, one single speech convinced 3,000 people to be baptized on the exact same day. The impact of that communication was just monumental.
Because of that monumental event, Pentecost is universally celebrated as Kirchens Futsalstag, the founding day of the Christian Church. It's directly marked by the creation of that very first congregation of 3,000 baptized people. It all started right there on that 50th day.
So, as we wrap up our explainer today, I want to leave you with this thought. The next time you are frantically rushing to beat that 4 p.m. cutoff, will you remember you're actually preparing for a 2,000-year-old birthday party? It definitely puts the stress of modern family logistics into perspective, doesn't it? Thank you so much for joining me for this survival guide, and hey, have a wonderful, perfectly planned Pentecost weekend.